are screaming, we always holler back to 'em.
Good evening and welcome to our We the People program as we continue the program we had started last. Mrs. Kayvon Daly and Mrs. Juanita Tolbert. Both of these fine women are from an organization in Fort Wayne called Friends of Bethany. And if you will recall, last week in our program, Kayvon gave us some of the brief history of the founding of Friends of Bethany. To remind you, it was an organization that was founded by Prince and Rosa Chapman. The founding or the roots of the program came from the deep desire and concern that Prince and Rosa Chapman had for at-risk children and at-risk families. Prince Chapman was deeply moved by that realization, and he founded Friends of Bethany with the help of his lovely wife. And it is an outreach in the Fort Wayne community to single women with children, and it also has expanded, I believe, under the leadership of Kayvon, and they are reaching out to other areas of our community besides single women with children. So I would like to begin tonight by just asking both Kayvon and Juanita the question, because Kayvon deals probably more with the single women with the children, and Juanita is the youth, does the youth program. And my question to both of you would be, what is, in your opinion, the biggest challenge that you are faced with today with Friends of Bethany in reaching these at-risk families?
And I can answer that, Ms. Tolbert. One of the greatest challenge today is the funding. It's huge for us. We operate off of very minimal funds. We are a Christian organization, and we're considered a faith-based organization, so we could definitely ask for grants and things like that. But as you know, that with the tough economy
Right.
as it has been, and then of course restructuring of the organization and taking over the ministry, funding's been challenged for us. So we have been blessed with having in-kind service from the church, where we, as I mentioned last week, we have our group sessions there, and we have an office space there, and that's been that's an in-kind service that the church offers. And then we have some a few donations that come in from regular donors, but in many of the staff there, volunteer staff, and so funding's been a key issue for us, or a big challenge.
Where do the resources, you are part of the education wing of this, Juanita,
Mm-hmm.
Where do you get your things? Education would mean to me that you're looking for books. Are you looking for computers? Are you looking for would seem not necessarily paper and pencil, because everything is computerized today.
Yeah.
What type of resources are you looking for to facilitate the education portion of the organization?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Certainly it has been a challenge with very limited funding, but that's the main, what you said is the main things that we need. That is books. And what I do is every month when the Goodwill stores have their half off sale,
okay,
I'm there getting books for half off. We have a few others that donate books, but that is a great need because we want books in every home, and our children need books that they can read or learn to read, and they need books that parents can read to them also to develop a love of learning to read. And as you said also, this is a computerized age, technology age, and we are always looking for laptops, computers, iPads. The children now are exposed, which is such a great thing, to iPads and laptops in the school, but many don't have computers at home of any kind, and then certainly not access to the internet. So that leaves our children at a great disadvantage. And so my dream and hope is to get at least books, developmentally appropriate books, in every home and to every child, and get them a little container. It could be a crate or even a plastic container to send home with that child so that they can read. And it can start early because, you know, as young as 2 or 3 years old, there are books that don't have words, they just have pictures. And when you start a child out that early, getting them interested in books or reading to them, they will develop the habit of reading and learning to read and loving to read.
Are most of the children, are they part of the Fort Wayne Community Schools, public schools, or?
Yes, either Fort Wayne or East Allen County schools, but
East
they're in the
Allen
surrounding areas, yeah.
I believe the majority is Fort Wayne Community Schools.
Yes, majority is probably Fort Wayne Community.
Now, let's go back to the books.
Okay.
What would be, if you were going to give our viewers an idea of an appropriate book? Can you think of the title of a book? Or?
Oh yes, Dr. Seuss for younger children.
Okay.
Everybody knows Green Eggs and Hams, and there are many series of books, but that's just the first one to come to mind. The Biscuit series, just when you go in a store, and right now Walmart has a display of books for $5.
Really?
Yes, $5 each, good books. But as I said, I go to the Goodwill stores and whatever. It's just books in children's hands that they can say that this is my own, and they will read it and reread it, and they will listen when parents or someone in the home read it. I mean, from a young child on up. And then for the older students, maybe middle school and high school, what we call chapter books, and they're the thick books with a story in them. So just to get kids interested in and really taking a quiet time and reading would help them tremendously.
And you're talking preschool as 2 and 3 years old, as soon as they are able to
Yes.
sit still long enough for mom and dad or mom to or grandma to read a book to them. So
Yes.
it could be a 2-year-old. Kayvon, suppose one of the viewers wants to buy this $5 display of books that you talked about that's at Walmart. Where could they take those books to give them to you? At the church?
Absolutely. We're at 7501 Hesson Castle Road, right at the corner of Tillman and Hesson Castle in the Tria Ridge Community Church. And our office are open Monday through Friday. So usually someone's there pretty much during the day. And of course they can always call and let us know, before they are going to show up, so we can have someone there to collect the books. But that would be the best location.
Okay, that's wonderful. Juanita, Kayvon had told me that Friends of Bethany has developed a youth mentoring program, and that is something that you are working on. And I wonder if you could share with us how does this work, and what is the goal that you have as you develop this program?
Okay, I believe you're speaking of the advocacy. Advocacy.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, it's something that Kayvon, being a visionary that she is, thought of, and also I've been involved in it, for many years as being a teacher, assistant principal, and a principal, and that is seeing the need for parents and students to work along with teachers for the success of the child, and it really takes those three to give the child great success in school. So sometimes teachers don't understand parents, parents don't understand teachers, and we have a problem when that comes about, and the child is right in the middle. But when they can sit together and talk together, and now in our technology age, a parent can look online and get much information. They can even get what a child is having for breakfast or lunch. You know, they can also have access to the child's grade, the homework that's assigned, and it's a lot out there. So sometimes parents don't know this, and sometimes they don't, know how to access it, and they do that by going to the schools and getting the information that they need. It's a matter of, getting online with different access numbers and things. And also, if there's a problem, with the child in school, parents and teachers need to be connected. And in this modern age, a lot of teachers communicate with parents by email.
Mm-hmm.
So there's many different things. I know parents live busy lives, and coming to the school sometimes is not the most convenient, but there's email. Then encourage any parent to get involved with your child's teacher.
Are you finding that I know that education evolves, I guess, over the years, and education changes, and are you finding that in some instances that some of what is being taught is beyond the ability for a parent to help?
Well, yes, that's certainly a problem, and at this time, technology is doubling about every 2 years.
Right.
And some parents are just not there, but usually there's help that a parent can get. They have many different after-school programs. Usually, a school system has after-school programs, or they have ways to help a child and a parent if they really seek the help. And it's really making that connection for the best of the child is what's so important, and sometimes we don't see that. But that's a must. And with those three, it's kind of like a triangle, and you have 3 points there. And if one point is missing, there's a problem.
And may I add to what Ms. Tobert has mentioned, because of she is an educator by trade, and so we're lucky to have her, as well as Ms. Judy Lindsay. And so what we found is that many of the parents, especially in the Partnering with Families program, are at that age group between 18 and 29, and sometimes they don't know what to do. And there's other times they're afraid to say something or and so forth. So with Ms. Tobert's credentials, we found many of the women would call her and ask if they had a problem with their child. Well, Ms. Tobert, can you help me out? Can you instruct me or counsel me on the best approach? How do I handle this problem, or how do I address my concerns at the school, and so forth? And so Ms. Tobert has been generous enough that she has counseled with them and instructed them on what their rights are, and really how to go about gaining those resources that are at the school that's available to parents, as she's already mentioned. So sometimes it's a matter of going online and looking at the child's grade or making that connection with the educator, but because of her credentials, she's able to provide that level of support to our parents, and at times have gone to the school with them, so they would have the comfort and the courage in addressing whatever situation needed to be addressed. So that is kind of how that advocacy program came about. Again, it's a need that we found for many of those parents, and to help them, not only know that it's important to engage in their child's education in order for the child to be successful, but that there's ways that they could do that, successfully. And so that's where Ms. Tobert comes in. So now we have an advocacy program. Thank you.
That's wonderful. And you had told me, I think you had told me, Juanita, that this advocacy program is for people or clients that have enrolled with Friends of Bethany.
Yes.
A question I meant to ask you that I had forgot about was, can you tell me, is there a time commitment that when a client comes to Friends of Bethany, that they have to commit to you to being with your program for spending X number of hours per week with you and X number of months in commitment, so they get the maximum benefit from what you're trying to do with the education and the mentoring?
Yes, yes. And that is a very good question, and that is something that has come about over time. It's been decided that the best way to serve our families would be to offer them, the single moms, 24 months of mentoring services.
Okay.
And so one, we've asked them to come to the group sessions once a month. That's 2.5 hours a month. And the one-on-one mentoring, we've asked for, at least 2 hours a month. So about 4.5 hours a month. One, moms are busy because they are those that are engaged in their child's life as much as they can be. They're working. Some may be attempting to go to school themselves, and they have their parenting responsibilities and so forth. So with all of that, the responsibility that they have, we want to make certain that we can allocate that time and in the best way possible without overwhelming the parent. So we've asked for 4.5 hours a month for 2 years. And so 2.5 hours at the group session. They meet with their mentors once or twice a month outside of the group session somewhere in the community. And usually it ends up more than that, because the parents that we serve, many of them thrive in those crisis moments, if you know what I mean. So that's become their norm. And so often when they're in that crisis mode, they will call their mentor. And so there's a lot of time spent on the phone helping mom de-stress and get through those moments.
All moms need that.
I've needed it, and my kids are adults.
I know that there is a youth mentoring program, and I believe that's something that, are you involved with, Juanita?
Well, we do have, youth sessions, and yeah, I guess it would be part of the mentoring program.
And ages, teenagers?
We do have a teens group,
okay.
And that's not my area, but the youth from about 2 years old till 11 or 12, well, I think we go up to 12. That's what I'm involved with.
Would you tell me a little bit about that portion?
Okay. Well, when we have our monthly mentoring meetings after dinner, as Kayvon has explained, then we disperse into groups. And myself and another, she's a retired teacher also, we work with the youth. And we have a schedule or a structured schedule that we do different things. We always read to them, and we sing songs. And then we have a lesson of such according to their ages. Sometimes we have preschoolers, on up to 5th grade. And we might do word searches, we might do cutting and pasting activities, various things, like that, activities for them. And then we may sing another song, or two. Mm-hmm. And then we also test them, and then also help them. Suppose we have a kindergartner, and we want to make sure that he is or she, can read and identify the kindergarten words. Kindergartners have about 50 words they need to know before they leave kindergarten, and various other things that kindergarten or first graders or whatever grade you're in. We work with them on that to try to help build skills. And there's also tests that you can give to see if they are up to par on their skills. And that's what we try to do to help. And if there are any problems, well, certainly we let the parents know that this is a skill that, they need help with, and recommend or send home books or maybe some skill sheets with them.
It's amazing. It's amazing what you what this ministry is attempting to do. And I know another very important part of the ministry is, I think it's a relatively new outreach that you have, and it is entitled Wings of Life. Yes. And I wondered if you would take a few minutes and tell our viewers what this program is and what its mission is, and what are your goals for this program.
Yes, thank you. And Wings for Life is fairly new. and it also has the mentoring component to it as well. We have the one-on-one and the group mentoring. The population of women that we serve through the Wings for Life program are women that are returning to the community from jail. We've realized that there are many women here in the state of Indiana that has been incarcerated. As of 2011, I believe over 1,500 mothers were incarcerated in the Indiana DOC, so meaning state prison. And so it just really perplexed our minds as to what happened with that woman, that she's now living a life of incarceration, or 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, however many, and more importantly, where are their children? So again, we're looking at a group of moms that are absent from their child's life. So as they are returning to the community from jail, we want to make certain that they are successfully reintegrating back into society, and I believe the best way to do that is to ensure that our moms have support services available to them, and mentoring is just one of those support services that I believe is a huge need for women, especially this population of mom. Those women typically are between the age of maybe 29, 30 to a little older. The average age is about 34, 35. We've currently been serving women that are involved in the reentry program. And so some are women of addiction. A high percentage of the women that are incarcerated due to addiction and or domestic violence. So, which I can kind of see the correlation there. So we want to make certain that we have support services available to them, so that we would reduce the recidivism rate and keep families together. And so you asked about our mission, and that is the same as the Partner with Families. We want to make certain that we empower women and children to gain excellence in education and healthy relationships and strong family dynamics.
Now, when a woman is coming back into society, you do not have the facility at Friends of Bethany to house them. You don't.
Not yet.
Do you refer them to places in Fort Wayne, or do they go back into their home? I guess that's a part of society I don't know a lot about.
Well, I'm still researching that as well. But many of the women that come home, they're coming to, if they go home to the same environment, most likely they will return to prison if they don't get the support services, mental health counseling, addiction counseling, and things like that. And so if a woman therefore is in need of housing, because we do not have a homeless shelter as of yet, then we will refer. And there's very few shelters here in Fort Wayne that I know of that house women that are, especially women that are on some type of reentry or involved in the reentry program. There may be one. I know there's one here in Fort Wayne, a very great place for women to go, but she can only house so many. So there's a huge need there. And you had mentioned if we had one. We don't have one at this time, but that is a long-term goal for us, because there's all types of housing needs for women, and that is one, and that's where they have very few of.
That's we talked last week a little bit about the funding for Friends of Bethany, and you had explained to us that you do take limited federal funds from the faith-based initiative that's with our federal government. I was curious, through what mechanism do you get your clients? Do people hear about you via word of mouth, or do they come to you through the court system? How do you get them?
And initially, word of mouth and I believe it's just the success of the program, and it's been very helpful for our parents, so they invite their friends over, and that's kind of how that started. And so today we're currently, as I mentioned, serving the reentry court, so we do have women that are referred to us from the reentry community corrections, and that's a recent relationship that's recently started. We're working with, just start discussion with the parole office. We'll be mentoring women that are on parole here very soon. So we will take walk-ins.
Okay.
So a woman calls and says that she's interested in the mentoring program, we will definitely consider her as a candidate, yes.
Our time is winding down, and I wanted to make sure that our viewers know how can they help you. Please tell your contact information, and if you can briefly just say what are your immediate needs.
Yes, our contact information, you can, anyone can donate to the ministry, whether it's in kind, books, as Ms. Tobert mentioned, and cash donations is acceptable as well. They could make their donations or mail them to our P.O. Box, P.O. Box 6325, Fort Wayne, Indiana 46896, or they could always mail it to the church, and it will then get to our office. So, but funding is a huge need. We want to serve as many women as we possibly can, and have a greater impact on our community.
It's been a delightful hour of discussion with the two of you. Our special thanks to you, Kayvon, and to you, Juanita. You're wonderful people, and to all of the wonderful people that are connected with the Friends of Bethany. I pray God's blessings on you, and I encourage all of our viewers to get in contact with them. And from all of the members of the Fort Wayne 912, and Kayvon and Juanita, we say good night and we say goodbye, and God bless America.
Thank you, Judy.
Hunkered in the sand, middle of nowhere. The war was raging, and he didn't think he'd be spared. He told his buddy, "Guess this is the end." His buddy looked at him, said, "Don't say that again, 'cause